Every day, these elephants produce something most people never want to touch. But here,
This pile of dung will soon become something you could write your most important notes on.
Inside the waste are tough plant fibers that paper makers would normally cut trees for.
instead, this factory turns elephant droppings into clean, colorful paper and eco-friendly products.
Today, we'll go inside the Elephant Dung Factory to see how waste is transformed step by.
You might find this paper in a tourist shop, an eco-stationery store, or even on a friend's desk without ever knowing its origin.
To you, it just looks like textured, handmade paper with a story behind it.
Behind that story is a clever process that recycles waste, saves trees, and supports elephant care.
In this video, you'll see how dung is collected from the elephants and delivered to the factory.
We'll follow it as it's sorted, washed, and sterilized until it no longer looks or smells like dung.
We'll watch the fibers being cooked, beaten into pulp, and mixed with color to prepare them for paper making. Then we'll see how each sheet is formed, pressed, and dried, just like traditional handmade paper.
Finally, we'll visit the finishing area, where the paper becomes notebooks, greeting cards, and other eco-products.
Along the way, we'll also look at quality control, hygiene, and how this unusual process is kept safe.
From steaming dung piles to stylish stationery, this is the complete journey of elephant dung paper.
The story begins with what elephants do best, eating massive amounts of plants every single day. They chew the plants, but their stomachs don't break down all the tough fibers. So when nature calls, those unused fibers end up right here, on the ground.
At this sanctuary, waste isn't left to rot. It's quickly collected as raw material.
Workers wear protective gear to handle the dung safely and hygienically from the very first step.
Look closely and you can already see the straw-like fibers that will become the foundation of the paper.
Collected loads are pushed straight from the elephant area to the factory to keep the process flowing.
Each batch is weighed, so the factory knows exactly how much material is coming in.
This helps them plan how many sheets of paper and products they can produce that day.
The dung is tipped into large bins, where the first round of sorting begins. Foreign objects like stones or bits of plastic are removed by hand before washing. The material is also separated based on how fresh or dry it is, as this affects washing and cooking time. Sometimes, dung is partially sun-dried first, which makes it lighter and easier to handle. Once sorted, bins are transported from the yard into the heart of the processing plant.
From this moment on, the transformation from waste to paper really begins.
Inside, industrial equipment replaces the elephant's stomachs as the new digesters of fiber.
To do that, each batch is emptied into specially designed washing tanks.
By processing several vats at once, the factory can handle hundreds of kilograms of dung per day.
What starts as a simple bathroom break for an elephant is now a valuable input for this factory.
High-pressure water is the first line of cleaning, breaking the clumps apart and rinsing away dirt. Mechanical paddles stir the mixture, freeing up the plant fibers from everything else.
Sand and grit sink to the bottom, while lighter, useful fibers stay in suspension.
Dirty water is drained away and sent to treatment systems instead of being dumped outside.
Fresh water rinses the fibers several times until most of the original smell and waste are gone.
Already, it looks more like rough grass pulp than something that came from dung.
The clean fibers are loaded into baskets, ready to be boiled at high temperature.
Boiling is where sterilization and real fiber softening happen.
A mild alkaline chemical, similar to washing soda, is added to help break down any remaining waste.
The tanks are heated to near boiling temperatures and held there for several hours.
During this time, bacteria are killed, odors are removed, and fibers become much easier to pulp.
This step ensures the final paper is safe, clean, and completely different from its origins.
When the cooking cycle finishes, the fibers have transformed again.
They're now soft, sterilized, and ready for the next level of refining.
Excess liquid drains off as the baskets are transferred to a cooling and rinsing area. A final rinse removes most of the alkaline solution, leaving only clean fiber behind.
What began as rough plant scraps in dung now looks like a raw, natural paper ingredient.
Rotating blades tear the fibers apart, dispersing them evenly in water. The result is a thick, porridge-like slurry known as pulp.
Many factories blend the elephant fibers with recycled paper to fine-tune texture and strength.
Once combined, it's almost impossible to tell which fibers came from trees and which from elephants.
The thickness of the pulp is carefully adjusted with water for the next stage of paper making.
From here, this cleaned and sterilized pulp will travel to the paper forming vats.
And this is where the handmade part of the elephant dung paper really comes to life.
Eco-friendly dyes are mixed into the pulp to create blue, green, or any other shade required.
The color spreads through the slurry until every fiber is evenly tinted.
Some batches are upgraded with flower petals, leaves, or grass for a decorative, natural look.
These inclusions will later show up as tiny, colorful specks inside each finished sheet.
Viscosity and fiber density are checked again to avoid sheets that are too thin or too thick.
If the slurry's too heavy, sheets will dry unevenly. If it's too watery, they may tear.
Removing excess air helps ensure the surface of each sheet is smooth, not bubbly.
On a busy day, multiple vats produce a rainbow of eco-paper in parallel.
Pre-approved color samples guide workers to hit the same shade again and again.
Some pulp is diverted into small molds to create thicker, textured boards for covers and crafts.
Coarser mixes are reserved for sturdy covers, while finer pulp is used for writing-friendly sheets.
Every vat is labeled and logged, making it easier to trace back any quality issues later.
The pulp is gently stirred for a set time to keep fibers evenly suspended before sheet forming.
When the mix is right, the surface looks like a smooth, thick soup of fiber. Each frame must be perfectly flat and clean to create an even sheet. These frames will capture just the right amount of pulp from the vat in a single motion.
With the pulp prepared and tools in place, the factory is ready to turn liquid fibers into solid sheets.
Every sheet starts with one careful dip. The frame is dipped and moved side to side, letting fibers spread evenly across the screen.
Water falls away while fibers interlock, forming the earliest version of a paper sheet.
What rises from the vat is a fragile, soaking wet sheet that still has a long way to go. Row after row, these simple yet precise movements produce hundreds of sheets every day.
Next, the fresh sheet is transferred from the frame onto a soft backing material.
This step is called couching, carefully releasing the sheet onto its temporary support.
Sheets are stacked between layers of felt or cloth, one on top of another.
Gravity alone starts removing some of the water as the stack grows.
The entire pile of sheets and felts is carefully positioned under the press.
With the push of a button, tons of pressure begin to squeeze out the water. Within minutes, a surprising amount of water is forced out of the fragile sheets. What's left behind is a denser mat of intertwined fibers.
When the press opens, the sheets are still damp, but now sturdy enough to be handled more easily.
Peeling back the felt reveals the first real glimpse of the paper's final texture. Each sheet carries its unique pattern of fibers and inclusions, like a fingerprint.
The semi-dry sheets are spread out on racks, so air can circulate around both sides.
Gentle air movement is enough. Extreme heat could damage the fibers.
Workers test dryness by touch, looking for a firm but flexible feel.
Some factories still use the sun as a free, renewable drying source whenever the weather allows.
In backlight, you can see the wild, organic structure that makes this paper so unique.
Torn or uneven pieces are set aside or cut down for smaller items like tags or bookmarks.
To improve smoothness, many sheets pass through a flattening press. The rollers iron out small bumps, making the surface more friendly to pens and printers.
The difference is small but noticeable when you touch or write on it.
Stacks are carefully aligned to ensure clean, straight cutting lines.
Now the factory has real, usable paper. Time to turn it into everyday products.
The creative part of the process begins in the next room.
In the finishing area, sheets of elephant dung paper become notebooks, cards, and gifts.
First, the paper is cut down into the sizes that different products need.
A precision cutter can slice through dozens of sheets at once with clean, sharp edges.
Even cut edges show off the natural fibers that gave this paper its life.
Different stacks are assigned to different product lines.
Some covers are printed or stamped with designs, logos, or conservation messages.
Because the surface is textured, the print has a handcrafted, rustic character.
Inner pages are grouped and clamped tightly for binding.
Holes are drilled through the stack to prepare for spiral or thread binding.
A simple metal coil turns loose sheets into a durable notebook.
Notebook production can range from small pocket sizes to large sketchbooks.
Flat sheets become greeting cards with a few quick folds.
Matching envelopes complete the set, often used for eco-themed invitations or gifts.
Thicker sheets are turned into gift bags and packaging that are sturdy yet biodegradable.
Despite its unusual origin, the paper handles everyday writing just like normal stationery.
Some factories also produce custom printed boxes for brands that want eco-friendly packaging.
From stationery to souvenirs, the variety of products keeps expanding each year.
Before shipping, everything must pass through one more important stage: quality control. Some samples are stretched until they break to check strength and flexibility.
There should be no unpleasant odor left at all, another sign the sterilization worked.
Clear signs remind staff how to protect both themselves and the final customers.
Wastewater from washing and pulping is treated before being released or reused.
Some plants even power part of their operations with solar energy to reduce their footprint.
By substituting elephant dung fibers for wood, thousands of trees can be spared over time.
Packed and checked, the eco products leave the factory and head to shops and visitors.
In stores, they look like any other artisanal stationery until you read the label.
Most people are surprised to learn that something so clean started out in a very different form.
Yet by the time you write on it, it's simply paper. Safe, sturdy, and full of character.
From the elephant's meal to the dung pile, through washing, boiling, pulping, and crafting, every step turns waste into value.
Each product is a reminder that smarter use of resources can protect forests and support wildlife.
Next time you see a simple sheet of paper, remember how creative factories like this are changing what waste can be.